Hello, today I'm going to give you a quick run through of the Pharma TouchStone online service. This is designed to show you information about the prices paid by and offered to retail pharmacists and dispensing doctors in the UK. So you get a good feel for the competitive marketplace and potentially what your competitors are doing with their prices. So the first thing we need to do here is to log in. And once we arrive at the login page, you have to double check your password's correct, put that in. When it's actually accepted, the different product buttons here go gold. If they don't all light up, your company presumably doesn't subscribe to all the services. So Pharma TouchStone with 6 months of data, we log in here. And this takes you to a very simple page designed for senior people who don't use the service very often and need to get a fast answer out without too much hassle. The other things that are worth saying here is that it includes the dates, the date range that is currently covered. So this service covers 6 months for me, but other users will have 3. And it just asks for a few characters of a product name. So if we put in Prograf, for example, and click on that, that will give us a breakdown of all the Prograf offers and prices we've seen in the market over the last 6 months. So we notice here that we've got some color coding going on. We've got brown for dispensing doctors. We've got a bit of green on the left for invoices. And we color the parallel imports, the kind of peach color here. As you go down the page, you might notice some reimbursement data. There we go. That's shown up in pink. And we've got some yellow parallel export data, which are offers made to pharmacists for spare stock. So that gives you an overview of the data in this page. You have quite a bit of functionality in here as well in terms of being able to filter. So you could put in, choose one of these price lists and then say, oh, I need another one as well, and choose that and another one as well. So you can be quite clever at actually building a list of what you need. When you've seen everything you need to and you want to clear it, you just click the clear X's to go back to everything. You can do that with all the columns, and you can do searches for things like alliance here, for example, and that will just find you the alliance data, and click the X to turn that back off. You always have an export button, so you can put data onto the clipboard and paste it into Excel, and you are always able to sort. So a couple of clicks puts the most expensive at the top, so you can see that very quickly. If I go back to the previous page, because it uses new tabs each time, the more advanced menu is designed for analysts or people that are using it a lot to keep an eye on the market, and that's hidden away behind the menu button here and is organized in a structured way into 3 areas of the screen. So the top right-hand corner is the filters. So you can click on these and say, oh, I only want to see local or parallel imports for any of the reports I see on this page. Or do I want parallel exports? Just show parallel exports, and take you back to everything again. So you can filter things there. The data in boxes are along the center here. They don't all need to be filled in. You can have empty ones. They populate the individual reports further down the page. You also have wildcards for some of the boxes. So here we could put Prograf with a wildcard after it, and that would then find all the Prografs. On this occasion, I'm going to look at one particular pack in a minute, so I'll leave it as a particular product. The supplier I've left with a star in case we want to look at all suppliers. All the others work on drop down, so if you wanted to change that to Teva, for example, it's very quick to actually do that and select from the drop down list. And changing the dates again is fairly quick. You simply put a 2 in and choose a date. But they can be empty. It doesn't matter if some of them are empty. They only apply to some reports. The molecule box here is the most critical one because that applies to lots of them. You can also click the question mark above molecule. That tells you how many molecules your company subscribes to or which ones they are. On this occasion, I'm using this for the demo, and it's got all the molecules in it. The way the reports are laid out is into 4 columns rather. You've got the go buttons that actually trigger them. So you've got the detailed reports on the left, you've got the trend reports over here on the mid-left, mid-right are the analysis reports, and then you've got other things that fit into the final column on the right over here. If I start with a detailed report, let's start with Ticrolimus and run all of that. This will produce quite a few lines, 295 lines of various different packs. Alloport there, and as we go down the page, we'll see other brands, Advograph, Prograph again. So you can scroll backwards and forwards quite sufficiently to find what you're looking for. You also have the filter boxes here, so you can search for key information, but it gives you everything you need in one hit in effect, and you can always export. I tend to find it a lot easier to do my filtering in here before I jump back into Excel. So that's an overview of the detailed reports. The top one just does it by a particular product. The middle one does everything for the molecule, and the bottom one will do it by manufacturer or licensor. The trend reports I find very useful, and clients like these because they give you big picture stuff, average, maximums, and mins. So if we did that for the molecule and then have a quick look at a particular pack, so that gives us 174 lines of data. If we just choose one of the prographs here we go, 0.550, and then we see that we've got some parallel export in there and some parallel import, so it's a mixture of the two. We could just slim this down from everything just to the averages, and then we could say, oh, we just want to see the all, we don't want it broken down by into pharmacy or dispensing doctor. And you could then compare, for example, parallel export prices that the pharmacists are being offered with the parallel import prices that they're being charged when they buy stock. So you notice one is slightly more expensive than the other. So they actually make it so they could actually buy parallel imports and then sell them on to parallel exporters. That quotas might disappear if they did that. However, this is a quick way of seeing what's going on. To get rid of these filters, we click the X's to go back to everything, and we could then refilter, or I'm going to jump onto the other tab and look at the others. There's a report called Molecule Counts here. This is not looking at prices, it's looking at the number of prices. And what this is trying to do is to give you early warning of stock situations where a supplier might have brought a lot of stock into the country. So if we filtered on one of our prographs again and said, okay, let's have a look at this 2, 2, 2, 3, 3, 3. If one of those numbers suddenly jumped up to 11, you could say to yourself, actually, it looks like we've had a consignment in. So that's arrived. One of the wholesalers has brought this in. There's a lot of new stock in the country, so we could expect the price to do something fairly rapidly in the next week or two. So it's an early warning system. It's the kind of thing you can run monthly because the data is updated every couple of weeks, and it contains about 100,000 prices at any one time. So I've talked about filtering, I've talked about the analyses, the trend reports. The analysis reports do similar things, but they break it down a little bit further. The molecule floor prices is a way of actually identifying who's doing strange things in the market for a particular product. So here again, we could look at Prograph and the 0.550 because we looked at that before, and then you could identify particular companies and what they're doing, and it just shows the company with the lowest price for that month. So at the moment we're just looking at, if we go back here, we were just looking at June, for example, there, just to see what was going on. And that tends to be used by commercial managers who are trying to identify issues in the market that they're going to have to resolve during the month. You've got a minimum generic price report here, which can be very useful, either if you're selling generics and it's a competitor you're trying to keep an eye on, or if you're selling a brand and you're up against generic competition. Invoice prices just allows you to dig into that. And then you've got other reports here. There's a kind of MIMS online product breakdown here that tells you what the thing contains and who makes it. There's an address book here of pharmaceutical companies that we've put together and suppliers of one sort or another. And then there's a licensor count here that actually does the counts like we saw previously, but by particular manufacturers. So that's an overview. I hope that's useful. And we very much look forward to hearing from you. If you want to subscribe or you just have basic questions you want to ask, we'd be delighted to hear from you. Thank you. Bye-bye.